move around in order not to be attracted by the heavier stars. And if you look at the sky, yeah, here for example, the bright star is the Proxima Centauri, the nearest stars to us. I mentioned before that Alpha Centaurus is the nearest star to us, 4.3 light years away. In other words, and only within 4.5 years you can go there. But in 1928, Professor Vogt from Lembang also can prove that this Proxima Centauri is a member of binary stars, of those binary stars I've just mentioned. So this is the nearest star, which is only a few meters, few kilometers closer to us, but nevertheless, Proxima Centauri is, still is the closest to our solar system. All of the bright spots here are stars behind Proxima Centauri, and there are still in our own Milky Way. We have studied binary stars in order to deduce the masses, because as you can see from the following, studying double stars, meaning to wait to determine the masses of the stars directly. There was no other way, there is no other way actually, to measure the masses of the stars, except when you are studying the binary orbit of the double star. Besides that, to determine the disturbance of the relative orbits of the binary components, as I have mentioned, if the orbit is not smooth but wiggle, this means that there is some disturbing object nearby, unseen by our eyes or by photographic plates, but we can measure the mass, as was found by Peter van der Kamp. And then to establish the form of the orbits leading to distance determination of the binary. This is the way you measure the distance of the stars from us, because using the parallax dynamic, we call it parallax dynamics, that is combining the Kepler law and the Newton law, which all you are familiar with at the school, you can determine the distance of the stars. Now, by measuring the distance of the stars from us accurately, you can measure the candlelight, the brightness of the stars, and then compare with other stars in order to determine the distance of the distances of the other stars. Okay, that is the zone. But we have studied double star many thousand, and finally we compile in the next photographic observation of visual double star. The name visual here is important because we only study the object that can be seen by us. About visual double stars have orbits which are very regular, very nice elliptical form without any disturbances of the from the unseen body. But of course, maybe the unseen body is very small. Suppose our sun is a double star. One is located sometimes somewhere outside of the Neptune orbit. Our Earth cannot be seen from a distance at 4.2 light years away from us. But people who were there, can deduce the orbit of the binaries by measuring the wiggle of the secondary star, if our star has a companion. We are glad that my younger colleague produced so many binary star measure, and now we wait for radial velocity measurement in order to find out whether they are disturbed by the existence of the hidden mass. I was still talking about Lembang and the binary star, which would lead, like in many other observatories, to the discovery of planet or exoplanets, we call it. We come to the point, maybe you were aware, that our solar system consists of the sun in the center of it and surrounded by 9 other planets. But 6 years ago, Pluto was discarded as a planet. Pluto was considered too small to be a planet, and Pluto was kept away. But here, in 2016, a new solar system planet was found. Why? Take so long since Kepler or Galileo aimed his telescope to the star that this small planet has been found. Now, this small planet is not located at the obvious place where the planet was or should be. It is located in the so-called Kuiper belt. That is the area just outside, way outside of Pluto's orbit, where there are many small bodies swarming the solar system. One of them happened to be this small planet, the small planets rotating or revolutionary orbiting the sun. But since there are so many small bodies in that area, people did not notice it until 2016. Just think, Galileo aimed his telescope to the moon and to the stars in 1620 or something, and it takes about 400 years to detect this small planet around the sun. But it is fascinating that it takes about so many years, and the planet was not so big, only 700 kilometers in size, and takes about 700 years once rotating, revolutionizing the sun. This means that once every 700 years, if there was a man who lived there, move around the sun. It takes only 1 year to move around the sun. So if you are now 50 years, this means you are 20 years of age. So you have already 20 times moving around the sun. But this planet will move around the sun and take 700 years to move around. I mention this because there are many exoplanets whose size is about this small planet. Then how do you distinguish between planets and satellites? There are many ways to distinguish between planets and satellites, but I will not touch this because time, I think, will not allow us to do so. But here is just an indication. There is very meager, very faint boundary between planet, small planet, and very large satellite. We go further to take, Here again, I would like to remind you to the existing textbook that our sun is there, surrounded by Mercurius, by Venus, by the Earth, and so forth. But these small planets take a very extreme action, move around the sun in such an elongated orbit and in such a big, and its plane of orbit is inclined with so large angle here compared to other planets. The question then is where this planet comes from? Can we explain in a regular way that these planets are formed by the remnant of the solar system material who will not aggregate into the sun and form planet like this? It was easy when Laplace did not know the planet here, explain the existence of this planet around here, because it says that Laplace a long time ago explained that once upon a time, maybe 4.5 billion years ago, there was only the material spread all over the place where it is now the solar system. The central part of the material coagulate, condense into the sun, and the rest will form planets. But this is certainly different. Maybe this is taken from other solar system, attracted by the sun and move into this orbit. I would like now to mention again the very small planet. We called it the ninth planet of the solar system. Yeah? This is the solar system, surrounded by planets that we know of, explained in the textbook already. But there are many objects moving around the sun at different angle and different form of orbits. Here is planet 9, which was found 2 years ago. Why it is called planet 9? Because it is the planet number 9 that moves certainly around the sun in a complete orbit. This body, for example, I mentioned 2013 RF98, was not called a planet because the orbit looked like moving around the sun, but it collects material from its surrounding, and therefore it is difficult to say that this is a planet. It is different than planet number 9. It's like Pluto moving perfectly around the sun. We come now to the title of my talk. That is, if you remember on the paper that is distributed, exoplanets and zone of habitability and zone of habitability. Actually, what are we looking for now, astronomers? Are you looking for exoplanet or extrasolar planet or very strange planet? Indeed, this has been found, very strange planet. I will discuss later on. Whatever you look for, please go back to the definition of planet. I have just mentioned that a planet is an object moving around the parent star, and it doesn't carry weight, it doesn't carry surrounding object like the sun, like the sun is surrounded by a planet. Exoplanets, strange planets now are found plenty around us. For example, there are planets which are very big. We call it super Earth. Maybe some thousand of them now have been found, have been identified. There are planets which are very hot, much warmer than Jupiter. Or there are brown dwarfs. Now, brown dwarfs are in the boundary where you can ask whether these are planets or failed star. What is a star? What is a small star? Small stars are body that is accumulated around the center point of mass, but it cannot produce energy of its own. The sun produces energy from the fusion. Hydrogen and hydrogen meets there in the center of the star and produce energy using the so-called Einstein famous law delta M equal to energy equal to mc squared. You can measure the energy produced in the center of the sun. But brown dwarf planets are big enough. It's too big for a planet, but nevertheless it is too small in order to produce energy of their own. Therefore it's called brown dwarf. Or the Lone Rangers. These are planets found individual in space without rotating around its parent orbit. There are some thousand that have been found so far. Yeah. So there are many interesting objects that you are looking for or happen to look for, but what we are looking is the so-called exoplanets, the real planet which are rotating or revolving around the parent stars, like our Earth revolves around the sun. That is the planet. Side. But where do you look for? There are some 300 million stars in our galaxy, in our Milky Way. It is not possible in one's lifetime to study each individual star to find the companion. Therefore, you have to have a guess. The best guess is to look for a star whose temperature is similar to the sun. The sun's temperature is 6,000 degrees Kelvin. The spectra is already known, the mass is already known, and you can easily detect from so many stars which have the characteristic, which possess the characteristic of the sun. Then you look for it in order to find out whether these stars are surrounded by planets or by system of planets or not. Slide. Next slide, please. Yeah. Here is our limitation. So many stars form a Milky Way. As I mentioned before, 300 million stars to form this system of stars. But our search has been confined to this small distance. This means that what you have found today is only the sample from this small distance. We don't know yet about the area, the other large area, whether they contain